All right, guys, I've told you a lot about the positive benefits on semen retention. Now it's time to get to the negative benefits of being on semen retention. And this is very, very common, but flatlines is going to take place in your semen retention journey. Some of you guys might experience headaches. Some of you guys might experience low energy. Some of you guys might experience dry eyes or, can't sleep that much on semen retention. But these are the negative benefits on semen retention. You guys got to understand that this is going to happen. You got to fight through it. Like, for an example, when I experience negative benefits on semen retention, like me, for an example, I experience like a little headache. Like, I'll get like a little headache. It don't be that bad, but like I can feel it. You know what I'm saying? Like I'm going through that flat line. And what fights me through the flat line is taking other like herbs, like stuff, you know what I'm saying, to fight through those flat lines. Like, for an example, like you could take herbs just for energy. That'll keep your energy up real high so you don't feel the negative effects of that flat line of you being lazy. So you can manipulate these flat lines, guys. And that's through taking other stuff, other herbs that's going to help you out on this journey. Like me, I take sea moss. So for an example, when I experience a flat line is when I relapse, right? I would relapse, and it depends on like if it's a lot of sperm that come out when I relapse that one time, then I might experience the flat line around around 2 to 3 weeks. I might experience like that one little headache I might get. But I would take sea moss to keep my energy up, to keep me busy to fight through it and get through it. So I take sea moss every day, and guys, my energy is staying up. Like I don't experience the laziness of semen retention. I don't experience that sluggishness that you get. Some of you guys might experience that sluggishness, and that's when you might end up relapsing during that time because you don't feel like doing anything when you're going through a flat line on semen retention. It makes you feel low. It just makes you feel like you're not confident, you're not motivated. It makes you feel like you just relapsed. But you did not relapse, guys. This is normal. It happens. But like I said, you could take other stuff to fight through that flat line. You know what I'm saying? To keep your energy up. You know what I'm saying? So a lot of you dudes, y'all get on semen retention, and then when y'all go through that flat line, a lot of dudes relapse because of flat lines. Guys, this is the truth. A lot of dudes, they relapse because once they go through that flat line, they be around the house, idle mind, feel unmotivated. Then they go and watch those nasty videos, or they go get the lotion, and release to that beautiful model, that beautiful woman, that they've been wanting to release to for a long time. You know what I'm saying? Or they go call up their ex, or they go call up a woman that they just, chill with, that they smashed in the past when they wasn't on semen retention, that would let them smash, and then they end up releasing. Guys, I don't want you getting this type of mindset. But this is why a lot of guys relapse, guys, because of the flat lines. These 3 negative, benefits: headache, sluggishness, you feel sluggish, and also too, like I said, you might experience like dry eyes, or just you feel unconfident. You know what I'm saying? So you guys gotta understand, man, that like you gotta put up a fight. You can't just be on semen retention and not taking other stuff. It's better to take other stuff while you're on semen retention to keep your energy up. Because semen retention is not gonna keep your energy up the whole time you're on semen retention. It's not gonna keep it up the whole time. And if it does, then that's your body. But for the majority of guys, they go through a flat line. Excuse me, they go through that one little phase where they feel like trash. They feel like garbage. They feel like what happened? Like around the first week or the second week, you just feel all this energy. It seems like you just feel all this energy. And after a while, man, you go through that flat line and your head start hurting, or you feeling low in energy. You like, man, what did I do? I know I didn't have a wet dream. What's going on? You know what I'm saying? But those them negative benefits. You know, and like I said, you got to fight through it. You got to continue to keep yourself busy. You know what I'm saying? Like a lot of guys, like I said, that's the devil workshop of idle mind. You know, they don't want to get on their purpose doing that flatline. You don't want to go to work doing that flatline. School, you don't want to do nothing. You just want to lay in bed doing that flatline. But like I said, man, you have to fight it. You have to get up. That's if you're not taking other stuff. You have to get up and continue to, you know, be at the best version of yourself, man. Because like I said, you're going to experience these flatlines on semen retention. You know, I remember when I first got on semen retention, guys, and I experienced my first flatline. Like I got like a little headache and I was just low in energy. I'm like, man, what's going on? But it didn't last forever. You know, it lasts like probably like a couple of days, something like that, or maybe even a day. You know, it just depends. Flatlines, they last, you know, or some might even last weeks. I don't, you know, it depends on your body. But when I was going through that flatline, I was like, man, what's going on? I just felt low in energy. You know, I felt like I relapsed, but I didn't. You know what I'm saying? I fought through it. I kept staying on my purpose. You know, I kept, you know, staying busy, and eventually I fought through it. But like I said, man, when you are on semen retention, it's not gonna do anything necessarily for you except make you feel better. You know what I'm saying? You gotta go out there and still put in the work. You know what I'm saying? It's not gonna just completely just change your life because you're on semen retention. That's not how it works. But these are negative benefits of being on semen retention, guys. Oh, and also too, I forgot this main one. Now this is a very important one. Lust. You know, when you first get on this journey, man, you're gonna start to feel horny, man. You know, you're gonna just start to feel horny, and you're gonna wanna, you know, smash. You know, you're gonna have that lustful mindset, but it's all just a test, guys. You know, this whole world is just a big test, just to see how you're gonna react. Do you have that discipline? You know, do you have that sexual control? You know what I'm saying? At first, like I said, when I first got on this journey, I was very, very lustful, man. And sometimes I even feel it now. But what I do is I get up and I do something. You know, when I feel like I'm in my lustful state, like I'm thinking about having sex or whatever the case is, I get up and I do something, guys. You know, for you guys that just hanging around, you're not doing much, man, get a gym membership. You know what I'm saying? Do something. Go walking around your neighborhood. Do something, man. You know, that's going to create more goals. You know, and that'll get you through those flat lines, and it'll get you from being in that lustful state. You know, you thinking about, you know, that woman of your dreams. You know, you won't be thinking about her if you was, you know, in the gym working out. You know what I'm saying? You will be thinking about yourself and things that's going to benefit you. Because like I said, man, semen retention, like I said, is very, very helpful. But these are negative benefits on semen retention. You know, a lot of guys, a lot of guys can't take it. You know, they cop out. They end up relapsing when they start to feel horny. But it's going to happen. But that's when you're supposed to be grinding. When you feel that horniness, guys, that's when you're supposed to get up and get on your purpose. When you feel that horniness, man. That, like right now, man, I had to get up and, you know, upload a video. Help you guys out with this video. Because a lot of you guys think that on semen retention, it's just all this positive stuff. You ain't going to never, you know, have no negative effects. Nah, you gonna have some negative effects, man. And also, too, like on semen retention, and some guys might think this is a negative thing, but it's actually a positive thing. It's like when you pee, and you might see a little bit of sperm like in the toilet. You like, what's going on, man? You know, am I relapsing? No, it's something in my body working right, and yeah, the body is working perfectly fine. The body knows when to release no old sperm cells that's not supposed to be in your body so the new can come in. You know, so guys, just relax. You did not relapse. No. You know, it's just releasing, you know, those old sperm cells that's not supposed to be in your body. You know, that it's just like, for an example, when you eat something that's not good, that's out of date, and then you feel that stomach ache, you're gonna either do two things. Do a number 2, or you're gonna just throw up. You know what I'm saying? So that's just like being on semen retention. No, when it's too much sperm that's built up inside of you, and and the sperm is just like not supposed to be there. You know, them old sperm cells, it'll just release in the toilet. You'll be all right. You'll feel better the next day. You know what I'm saying? You're gonna feel high vibration. But guys, man, these are the negative benefits on semen retention. You know, yeah, I've talked about a lot of the positive benefits, and I know a lot of you guys are so used to those positive benefits. But there are some negative benefits, guys. You just gotta, you know, and the main negative benefit is your mind. No, you must get control of your mind. You cannot have your lust, and you can't be out here thinking with the wrong head, man. You know, it's really, really hard for us men because lust is in us naturally. You know, we gonna lust after women, and it's in women too. Women gonna lust after us. You know, they might not expose it, but they lusting too after us when they look at us and stare at us. You know, yeah, she lusting. You know, she wants some of that slide work. But you got to make sure that you are staying disciplined. You know, you got to have control. You know, the attractive man to a woman is the man that have self-control. He has control over his lust. You know, that's another thing that makes a man. You know, having control over your lust. Being in control of your mind. You know what I'm saying? So, guys, man, in your character. So, guys, you guys got to understand when you're dealing with these negative traits, you got to fight through them. You know, like I said, I take sea moss to fight through it. Sea moss keep my energy up. You know, so I don't go through, when it come down to the flat line, I don't go through feeling that low vibrational energy because I got sea moss to be in to replace that. So, you know, sometimes I feel like a little headache, but it'll go away. You know what I'm saying? I feel that headache like if I relapse. Like I said, if I relapse and then around the first or the second week, I might feel a little headache. Not that it's gone then after that. But guys, man, these are the negative benefits that you're gonna experience on semen retention. Just fight through them, guys. You gotta be a man, man. Be a man. Don't cry about it. Don't complain about it. You know, it's something different. I know it's something different, guys. Like I said, we not taught to retain our sexual energy. You know, we not taught about that. So you on a spiritual journey. You know, and you know what I'm saying? So you gotta be in a different mindset. You gotta want something bad. You know, you gotta want to retain bad, man. You gotta want a renewed mind. You guys like, comment, subscribe. It's Coleman.